we start?
Yes, I think so.
Ready?
Yes.
Set?
Go.
Go. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's cool to be here at PrismaDay. I think that data management and connecting with databases is the most fundamental part of backend application development, and I find it really cool what Prisma is doing, because I haven't seen anything like what Prisma is doing in the JavaScript world yet. I come from a Ruby on Rails world. Don't judge me.
Come from PHP.
Today, we're not only going to talk about Prisma, though, we're also going to talk about Code Sandbox. So I have here with me Sara. She calls herself a code monkey.
I'm just here for the live coding. I brought my own laptop, as you can see.
Yeah, and I'm Ives, or Ives, or Ives, doesn't matter. You can choose your pick. Call me Flip if you want to. That's what my friends do. I'm co-founder of Code Sandbox. So, we're going to talk about Code Sandbox together with Prisma. And I first want to show you what Code Sandbox is, in case you haven't seen it before. So I have this.
I can leave, right?
Oh yeah, you can leave if you want to.
Okay, cool. Nice talk.
So this is Code Sandbox. It's kind of like your local code editor, but it's in a website. It's using React and parts of VS Code, but that's not really a framework. And it works the same way as your local editor in the sense that you can change code, and it will update here. You have auto-completion stuff. For example, if I would do like React dot, you will get this. You can also go to the type definitions if you want to. You also have a package.json, so you can install dependencies. So it's kind of like your local editor. It goes as far as that you can even put your VS Code settings inside Code Sandbox. If you paste them here, it will, well, behave the same as your VS Code environment. The cool thing about this is that whenever you make a change, you can save it, and you get a new URL, which you can share with other people. This name is lingering HTTPS. And so this way you can easily share projects with each other. If you have like a bug report, if you have like an example, or you need feedback. That's in a nutshell what Code Sandbox is. And today we will talk about Prisma and Code Sandbox together. Initially, I'm going to give a small overview of what happened over kind of like the evolution of Code Sandbox over the past years. Then what our plans are with regards to databases and Code Sandbox, and then you will give a beautiful demo.
Yes,
with Prisma.
live coding.
Live coding. Okay, cool.
Is everyone excited? Thank you.
They are nice.
They're pretending. It's fine.
Oh. Okay, so this was the last time I was in Berlin in September 2017. It was also my first conference talk ever, and I was talking about Code Sandbox. Surprise. It was Code Sandbox wasn't very big at that time. It was very small, actually. So this was kind of like the first real release of Code Sandbox, and after this, it got popular faster. It was at Site Day.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Can we all just give a round of applause? Because this is the second time Ives is in Berlin, and the first time was for Zeite, and he landed in Schoenfeld. And
This time.
he deserves better than Schoenfeld.
Yeah, this time I took a train.
This time he took a train. I mean, I get it.
And at the time, I was giving the talk inside a sandbox. So this talk was inside a Code Sandbox. This is like an embedded version of Code Sandbox. So now I have a talk in a talk. If I would put a talk in this talk, then I would have a talk in a talk in a talk. Talkception.
Code Sandboxception.
And at the time, Code Sandbox looked like this. It was very different compared to what it is now. For example, you didn't have like tabs. The buttons were very big here.
That's a lot of buttons. That's a very big button.
And you didn't have a package.json. You didn't have this sidebar thingy. And that's true. That's like with a reason, because it was initially built as an online React playground. Because I had an issue with, when I was talking with my coworkers, I wanted to communicate code in a simple way with libraries. And that's why I built Code Sandbox in the first place. But then after Code Sandbox got more popular, people also started to use it for a whole lot of different use cases. Some were very crazy and some were very legit, I'd say. And one of those use cases was teaching people. So teaching people web application development. And the people who got taught web application development, they wanted to stay inside Code Sandbox to build new web applications. They didn't want to go local after they learned how to do the code. So one use case kind of came up, and that is like full web application development in Code Sandbox. So we slowly started to add more features for full web application development. At that conference, at Site Day, I announced that we were able to deploy to site. Surprise, surprise. And after that, we slowly added more features. For example, GitHub committing and PRing. So you were already able to open a sandbox to a GitHub repository. I think if you do this. So this is like the URL from GitHub, this part. It's a GitHub repository, and you will get an immutable sandbox environment that runs the application that's on that URL. Later, we just added the committing. So if you make a change here, then you fork the sandbox, and you have the option to commit your changes back to the original GitHub repository. Then we added VS Code editor and extensions. Extensions part is not that you can install custom extensions, but we kind of pre-install extensions inside the Code Sandbox editor. That's how you get those type definitions, those go-to definition things. And lastly, we had container support, because initially we were executing all the code of all the projects inside the browser with an in-browser kind of Webpack, but then for the browser.
Not very scalable, as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's for like bigger projects. If you have like a backend, for example, if you have a server, then it doesn't make sense to run it in the browser. So for certain kind of projects, we execute the code on a Docker container. But then there was one thing that people were asking for, and that was more an infrastructure question. That's like, how do you persist state in your sandbox? And if you would do it locally, if you have a project locally, you would like start a DB server, and you connect the sandbox or the project with the DB server. But it isn't as nice, because you introduce infrastructure. If you want to share your project with someone else, then they need to set up this DB server as well. So there are solutions like Docker, but it's not as easy as if you would just press a button.
Docker is not easy, period. I don't know what you're saying as easy.
Well,
I mean,
at least, so we wanted to have like a quick, easy, and intuitive way of adding state to sandboxes that persisted. And so we started to draw up an idea for data providers. And the idea is that if you have a sandbox or a container, you can press this button, and we would handle the infrastructure of setting up a database, connecting setting up all the configuration for the database, like the connection of the sandbox to the right database, the permissions, and that's it. You would have the states persisted in your sandbox. Whenever you do a fork, based on some conditions, we either copy the database or we reuse the existing database. And we want to initially do this for key value data. So this one is quite simple, because you can just, like local storage, well, more like IndexedDB, you can just save a value under a key and get it. Later, PostgreSQL and MongoDB, and the idea is that people can add their own data providers, so that people can have like their own database infrastructure connected to the sandboxes. But then, that's one part of the story. That's the infrastructure part of the story. Connecting with the database and querying the database, all those things is another thing that needs to be quick and intuitive. So that's where Prisma comes in.
yay!
Because, for example, with the Postgres database, you need to have like migrations, you need to do the provisioning, you need to have the communication, like an ORM to communicate with the database. And you also, it would be nice if you have like an overview where you can manage the data, where you can see what's inside the database. We want to integrate this directly in the editor. So if you have like Prisma integrated in the editor, then we would have like a separate tab on the right where you can go over all the data. In the sidebar, you can show which last migration has been run. You can manage all the migrations. You can see which migrations has been run. You can like downgrade, upgrade, all those things with a UI instead of a CLI, which makes it more easily discoverable.
Buttons.
Buttons, more buttons.
More buttons.
But then
Smaller buttons, though.
smaller buttons than the last designs. So
Yeah.
right now we can't show the data providers yet, but we can show Prisma. So Sara is
So
going,
that's something, I guess.
yeah, Sara is going to show a demo of Prisma running inside Code Sandbox. Can I do this?
Yes.
Save?
Okay, so the reason we're switching computers is because my keyboard is still Portuguese and his keyboard is Dutch, and one time I forgot that, and a lot of people laughed at me.
That was a long demo.
That took like That was, God. And it was in Portugal. So it was like my own peeps making fun of me. I was like, God damn it. Actually, I shouldn't do this. Or should I do this? I think it's fine. Okay, so I made a thing that apparently I can't show, so I'm just going to do like this, so you can see my face twice. Great. Okay, so I made an app. Ives, you can leave,
I'm here.
because I had to stay.
I won't stand on the...
Okay, cool. Do not stand on the things. Okay, so I made an app which basically shows you a lot of pretty colors. You're proud of me, babe?
Yes, but I want to add my own colors.
Well, fuck, that's what you are. Okay, so what I have here is a... Okay, so let me show you something cool about Code Sandbox, which is Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P if you own a Windows. And you can just go on Settings, and you can go on User Settings. So I'm just going to type User because that's easier. And I go on User Settings, and I can just do this. So I can set it to 18, and it automatically does the thing. And now if I go to index.js, everything is 18 pixels. And I'm also going to change the theme to be a white theme, because we all should get blinded when people do live demos, because that's how it works.
Oh.
There you go. It's morning. Get used to it. Okay, so I have a React app, and I have an app.js, which has style components, for example, but they're all hidden in elements, so you don't have to look at my CSS in JS. Everything is okay. You don't have to cry. And yeah, so this app literally gets all of the colors from this JSON file, which is called data.json. This is because my sandbox is frozen, so I don't screw up. So that means that if I save, it will fork the sandbox. And that's why it keeps showing up, and I'm like, nope, not yet. Okay, so I have a bunch of colors, and that is pretty much it. But problem is, Ives wants to add a new color, so this doesn't really work. Because, I mean, it does if I just add it on the data.json, but that, again, not very scalable. So now I'm actually going to do that, and I want to continue, and I want to fork the sandbox. Okay, cool. So this is going to start the sandbox. Again, because basically I forked it. This is a container sandbox. So this is also to show you that one thing that we have issues with is that if I go here to create new sandbox, I can't. Oh, it's because it's initializing. So you can create something in the server, but this is to show that you can actually create anything in the server. It doesn't matter. This is a create React app running in the server. Okay, so we're going to wait for this to initialize while we have a chat. We're not going to do that. Are we going to do that? Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. That's cool. Okay, so it's starting the development server, and I should have the exact same thing, pretty much. Come on, Dan. Dan.
Come on, Dan.
God damn it, Dan. No, this happens. I don't know why, but I don't think he knows what Android is. Does he know what Android is? Okay, this is going to work, just trust me. So, okay, we also have a Prisma server. So this Prisma server, which I can show you, has a main.ts, which imports Photon from... Is it doing it? It's
still loading.
It's still loading. Okay, so main.ts, and this is the main file that you will have in a Prisma thing. So you can also have a ts config, and you also have a Prisma, which has my dev.db, which you can open using, this is what I use to open it, it's DB browser for SQLite, and you have a project.prisma. So what I say here is that I want my data source to be a database, and I just say that it's in a file, so that's okay, and this is the default one. And so what I do here is that I also say that the generator is Photon, and I want the output to be here. This is merely a code sandbox thing, because we don't sync all your node modules, so you wouldn't have type definition, so you don't need this in your local environment. This is because we want type definitions, and this is the best way to do it in code sandbox. And I clicked the button. That was not, that's it, the button was too small. And there you go. So this is all that you need to do. So then I just set up an Express app. And you're wondering, why is this in REST? So the point is that Prisma now is some sort of an ORM. So the point that I wanted to show is a bit like you don't actually need to use GraphQL with Prisma. You can. It's a great choice. I love GraphQL. But you don't have to anymore. Like, it's a choice now. So I decided to make a REST one because, I mean, it's kind of like doing Flash, right? Yeah. Look, colors. Amazing. Yes. No one's going to cry. OK, cool. So I have an app.get. And do you have a click? Does your clicker have a pointy thing?
I have a pointy thing here.
No, I just need the
Oh.
on. Yeah. Okay, so I have an app.get, and basically what I do is I await photon.colors. And what photon.colors is that I have something in my package.json that is Prisma to generate, and what this does is it generates all the type definitions for the databases that you have. So you can run this on start, you can run this like this. I run this on gen so that it doesn't keep running it. So what I have here is that, so basically I run photon and I run colors and find many. And what I'm going to do to show you that this all contains type definitions is that I'm going to create one for deleting. So we have an app. So this is a normal Express app. So I'm going to put app.delete. This is still code sandbox, and I type the types of Express. So I'm going to type that delete. Yes, that's what I want. And then I'm going to copy this because I'm lazy. There we go. Beautiful. That was some fast-ass typing. OK, cool. So I have an app.delete, and I need the request, and I need the response. And the next thing that I'm going to, this is because the ports keep closing because I keep restarting the server. So you can just ignore that. And this means that basically we can have several ports open at the same time, which is nice. Right? Nice? OK, cool. OK, so I shouldn't eat a delete endpoint with just this, so I'm going to add an ID. So, and I want to show you that I can just simply call photon and get all of the type definitions back. So if I call app.delete, I can say that the const ID equals rec, that params, that ID. And I'm going to do something that I screwed up 3 times while I was practicing this, which is I need to parse int. Let's not forget that, because then it just doesn't work because I didn't put a catch on it. OK, cool. And parse int is now like this. Thank you, TypeScript. Oh, God, I never thought I would say that.
I'll remember this.
You broke me, Ives. God damn it. OK, so I have an ID. So now we need to actually get things from the database. So I'm going to say await. And if I just type photon, OK, cool, and I type dot, you can see that I have my database, which is colors. I can also connect and disconnect from it. I can also query whatever I want in it. So I'm going to type colors, and let's see what I have. OK, cool. So I can also get the length. I can get find one, and I can get find many, delete, create. OK, so I want to delete. And I just want to delete one, and that's why it's like this. So then this takes an object. So if I do this, args was not provided. OK, cool. So I need args. And then if I just type, I think, OK. Yeah, you get select and where. So I just type where. And this is basically how GraphQL also works. So where ID equals ID, but it's 2019, so I don't really need this. Just for the sake of cleanliness, all right? OK, cool. And this is literally it. I mean, I should send a response, so I'm going to send a response, not rest. I mean, actually, it's rest. So I'm going to say res dot, did it do anything weird? No, that's cool. So res.send, and I'm going to say json.stringify, and I'm just going to say the ID, got deleted, and that's it. So if I try to delete something, it will just send me back the ID of the thing that got deleted. OK, pretty cool. So it's restarting the server, and the app is listening on port. And as you can see, this opens 2 ports. So I can say port 35479. That's random. Open, and as the server is listening on it, so if I click this, you can see that you also have the playground that Prisma adds. So you can actually open several ports. So if your app has a front end or a back end, you can actually open the 2 ports. They will open at the same time, and you can do that. So I can come here, and I can also check find many color, for example, and put name. And I just do this, and I get all the colors. So you can do this in both ways. I chose to go you can also close them. We apparently have some issues with white themes and the close button. That's cool. We can fix that. Completely lost my track. Colors. Yes. So now you can add colors and delete colors. That what you want?
Yeah.
OK, cool. So now I need to add that to the front end. OK. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And so as you can see, Prisma works on Code Sandbox. So you can just fork this sandbox, for example. This has a very simple database. If you download it, so the structure of the database is also in here. So it just has this. It has an ID. It has a name, and it has a value. So the name is the name of the color, and the value is the value of the color. I think that's OK. And you can fork this, change the DB, and do your thing. Cool. It supports multiple databases and like relations and everything, but I'm not that smart, so I just kept stuck with this. Cool. So now let's do the front end. React. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who in here does React? OK, cool. So yay. For fuck's sake. OK, so I have colors.map, which does absolutely nothing. Cool. So one thing that you may not know about Code Sandbox is that you can actually use these URLs as an API endpoint. And if the sandbox is hibernated, which it does after 30 minutes, it will wake up the sandbox, so it will be slow as hell, but it will work. Do not use it in prod. I mean, you can, but that's a terrible idea. I mean, don't. That goes to our servers. I don't care about you, but it goes to our servers. OK? My paycheck and stuff like that. OK. Fetch. Okay, cool. So first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to say const data and set data is equal to, and look at this beautiful thing, use state. There we go. And this is going to start with an empty array because I'm lazy to set up loading. Yay. Okay, cool. So first I'm going to create a use effect. And this use effect is going to call a function. So the thing about use effect, this is not a React conference, but I feel like I should say this because I have been bitten by this several times, is first of all, you need to call it on start, do not call it on everything. And the second thing is that you can't call a async use effect. You got to call a function that's async. Oh, fucking no. So I'm going to call a function called getData. And this... I hate you. I hate you, VS Code. Okay, there you go. So now let's create a function called getData, which is undefined. Oh, okay, cool. Everything's okay, I promise. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to call this colors. And set colors. Okay, cool. So getData, I'm going to say const getData. This doesn't get any parameters, and it just does this. And this should be async. So let's do async. Cool. And so now I'm going to say const result equals await fetch. It was still in my keyboard. And then I'm just going to pipe this through. So r equals r.json. Because everyone loves doing this part. This part is the best part, right? Yes. So I'm going to say set colors equals to results. And if I do this properly, it should work, or it doesn't. One of the above. That depends. Await fetch. Nope. Okay. So let me open this in another thing, and this is all planned. There's a what in the what?
Oh, yeah, there's a typo, I think. Code send Xbox.
How did I fuck up copying and pasting?
You added the X.
That is insane. Wow. Wow, that is sick. Glad I put a white theme on it. Because otherwise you couldn't fucking read it. Still not that, though. Oh, no, it is that. Okay, cool. So now we have the colors. Cool?
Very cool.
Very cool, thank you. He's very proud of me. I know. I was never supposed to make it as a person. So, it's so true, though. I'm just going to tell you that McDonald's didn't hire me. So, I have a form, which is, I need to import it. So I'm going to import form from, I made a form, amazing, from form. I saw that, thank you, human. There we go. Okay, so now I have a form. I also styled the form, no one has to see me do CSS. You're all fucking welcome. Okay, on submit, I want to call a function. So let me just show you that this form basically gets the name and the value and just passes it to the onSubmit function. So on submit, I want to call a add color function. And now I need to create it. Who knew? Constant add color equals an async function, and this gets the name and the value. Oh my god, I have a mechanical keyboard at home. This doesn't make any sound. There's no tactical thing. Where does my clicky sound? Point is, I need to await again. So I'm going to await that fetch, and I'm just going to copy this. And I need to pass some options to this because it's not a get, it's a post. So I need to say method equals post. And don't worry, I copied some stuff over. There we go. There we go. And now there we go. So look at this amazing app that I own and that I bought with my own money. You're welcome. There we go. No one wants to write others content type application.json. And apparently I also copied the post. Okay, cool. So I also need to send the body, which I don't know why I didn't copy. JSON.stringify. No, baby, no. JSON.stringify. So imagine how this would have gone in a Dutch keyboard. Just saying. So name and value. Okay, cool. So this should work. I can't promise anything, but I am like 20% confident that this is going to work. Okay, 10. 5. And then I have to call getData again, because I want to show the new data. I don't want to reload the page every time. Okay, cool. So choose a color from here, and I'll add it.
Ooh, I want this.
You want fuchsia? Fuchsia. Fuchsia. Okay. And so the name is fuchsia. And the color is this, and I need to add the hashtag, otherwise you won't recognize it as a thing. And if I hit submit, you get fuchsia. Fuchsia. Okay, cool. So the last thing that I'm going to do is just I am going to add a button to delete the thing, because since we spent so much time staring at me trying to do express and failing, we should also, it's just nice. So I'm going to yeah, exactly. Thank you. And on click, I am going to call delete. I don't understand this thing. Don't they know that 90% of the times I want click or change? But do I want on can play? I should actually search what the fuck that does. Shit, so close, yet so far. So this is gonna delete one. This is gonna delete, so I need to call this as a function. So delete color, and I need to pass the color.id. And there we go, and I'm just gonna put an X in it. And as the other time, the CSS is already done. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna call delete color, which is an async function that gets an ID and returns amazing. So I'm just going to call a fetch. I don't need any of these things. I don't need the headers. I just need this to be a delete. And I need this to be this, because I need to pass the ID in here, yes. And then I pass the ID. There we go. And I forgot const. What if I want it to be a let? I have no idea what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just trying to buy some time where this loads. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to call get data. Look at that beautiful button. It's not a button. Technically it is a button. Technically isn't everything a button, though. Okay. No, technically everything is an object. Okay, cool. So now we have a button, and as you can see, when I was trying to add this, I screwed up, and I have two navies. So if I delete it...
Oh, wait. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
Interesting. Oh, wait, no. Wait, what? I have no idea what happened. Oh, there we go. It did work now. I don't know. So I'm not going to leave you fuchsia, so I'm just going to add another one to show that it works. So I am going to add this orange one. I can type orange, so that's good. So, can I? No. Spoiler alert. She could not. Orange, and I'm going to delete this orange, and bam. Okay. So yeah, the point is to show you that you can start up a Prisma server on Code Sandbox. You can call it from a completely different sandbox. This is also a container, just to explain that you can use containers, but it doesn't have to be a container. There is no actual reason for this to be a container, except that I want it to be a container. That's how my life works. Why did you do this like this, Sara? Because I wanted to. And that's why I'm here right now. Yeah, so as you can see, you can have all of the good things of Prisma inside the internet instead of having to download everything. And yeah, I'm going to pass it back to Ives and his Dutch keyboard. We survived. Oh, it's not done yet. It's not done yet.
Well, it's close to done.
It's close to done.
I think I don't need to
Is
show
that
my
sweat?
laptop. Yeah, I have
gross.
sweaty hands.
You're gross. Why am I doing this?
You don't need to connect it.
There's a thank you thing. They should
right.
show people.
Yeah, that's true. So, what you've seen is
magic.
on stream, on codesandbox.stream, because that's our staging. We got a staging because we wanted to test live editing, so that's why we got the name stream. But it will be deployed this week, and that includes like the multiple browser panes, the multiple port support, and we have some auto configuration which is not finished yet. So it's a question if we are going to deploy it this week. That's the big if. But
there's also the possibility, for example, if you use Gatsby, to open a new browser pane just for the GraphQL endpoint, for example.
Right.
Which is also very useful. Does that make sense? Not only, okay, are you have a question? I'm kidding. Continue.
Well, that's actually it.
See, thank you thing.
Yeah, so thank you, everyone.